I am going to call to order the 2,477th meeting of the Darien Police Commission. First order of business, acceptance of minutes of May 16th.
Motion to approve.
Second, any corrections, additions for anybody? Okay, all those in favor? Correspondence.
Correspondence. We had another couple of weeks where we saw the very generous nature of our residents and some of the establishments in town. The residents at South Woods dropped off breakfast for us on the 17th. We had another drop off from Giovanni's delivering steak sandwiches and salads on the 23rd. I know Commissioner Hayes is going to be upset about the lack of notification. And then a couple others involving specific officers. So we got a letter of appreciation for Lieutenant Nick Aranzulo. He met with neighbors in the Oxford School District to answer some questions and share best practices about how to keep their homes and cars, and most importantly, their families safe. So they were very appreciative of that, and they sent me a quick note. And then we also got a letter of appreciation and even a photo sent along for Officer Bouzakis. He had some interactions in a Darien neighborhood, and he
Got some lemonade out of it.
I guess he got some lemonade out of it, and the people are very appreciative of not only how engaged we are with their children, but specifically Officer Bouzakis, who stops by, and his son now asks for him regularly, and he's always so nice to the neighborhood kiddos. So we appreciate that effort as well. And lastly, following this meeting tonight, we have a very special event at the DCA house, and the DCA and the director graciously allowed us to use their facility for promotion ceremony, so we sent them a letter of appreciation as well. And that should do it for correspondence.
Let me see, anything else in here? Okay, Captain, department activity?
Okay, this is from May 16th through June 4th. On May 17th, Darien officers responded to the area of Post Road and Hillside Ave for a motor vehicle accident involving two vehicles. It was determined that the two vehicles were racing and ultimately crashed. Both operators, one 25-year-old male and the other 18-year-old male, were from Stanford, and both were arrested. On May 19th, Darien officers responded to a residence on a report of a stolen motorcycle. The motorcycle was parked in the garage of the home. The resident reported the internet cable wires were cut from the side of the house, disabling the Ring cameras. The investigation is ongoing. On May 26th, an 18-year-old female from Darien was arrested for allowing minors to drink in her home, stemming from a house party. She was issued a promise to appear. On June 1st, just after 1 a.m., Darien officers responded to the Center Street parking lot on a report of a suspicious person attempting to gain access to locked vehicles. Officers were able to locate the suspect running westbound on the Post Road and detained him. He was identified as a 23-year-old male from Milford. During that same time period, we had one domestic disturbance, 6 incidents of identity theft and/or check fraud, 2 car burglaries of unlocked vehicles, 1 stolen motor vehicle, 24 motor vehicle accidents, 4 in private lots, and 2 with injuries, 161 traffic stops conducted by the Patrol Division and Traffic Division, 855 calls for service, 80 aided calls, and 3 DUI arrests.
Can you expand on anything?
Yeah, a couple of points here. The racing accident and following arrests. It's not something we really see in town here. It doesn't mean it's not any less dangerous when it does occur here. We were happy to be able to identify and properly charge these 2 individuals, as it is extremely dangerous. We hope that kind of sends a message. It's not something that's going to be tolerated in Darien or should be tolerated anywhere else. And also, I just want to remind residents as we approach graduations and those who may be thinking of having parties, that the Darien Police Department has paired up with the Thriving Youth Task Force and a campaign that really encourages awareness of the social hosting laws and how dangerous it is to be providing alcohol to minors at these parties, and the fact that it is illegal. So I would encourage everybody to familiarize themselves with the social hosting laws and We have some good social media posts out there on it, and I know the Thriving Youth Task Force is doing a really good job of pushing that information out. And then one more. We had 2 officers in Orlando, Florida this week at the Traffic Crash Symposium. They're part of our accident investigation team, which I think at this point we have some of the best trained accident investigators in the area. Officer Licari and Officer Dos Santos attended classes that included learning about tire forensics, occupant kinematics, forensic visibility. They observed in-person pedestrian crash tests, and they had in-person classroom seminars. And through these seminars and conventions, both Captain and Dema and I have been to plenty of them out of state. You develop a lot of contacts and a lot of good information to bring back and utilize in our own traffic crash investigation. So we appreciate those officers taking the time to learn about that. That's all I have for the activity.
Any questions? Nothing? Okay. No one else can see, but I can see there's no one from the public here, so we will go to old business. Building, anything for old business?
Yeah, building issues, just a few things real quick. Women's locker room was reopened, so we got all the female officers back upstairs, which is good. Just a few minor things that got to be completed, just cosmetic work in the hallways and install the strikers and locks outside the doors. But for the most part, it is back in service. So ultimately, the bathrooms across the hall are going to be swapped out. Temporary showers are going to be removed, so that will be done shortly. The nitrogen systems will be installed week of July 8th. In the meantime, we're going to be setting up the wiring for the systems. As you're aware, the fire suppression inspection revealed that there's some corrosion in the dry system areas throughout the facility here. Efficient heating and cooling, we'll be doing the install for the split system and communications. And likely that will be beginning next week. That should only take a day or two. F&F Mechanical will be doing the install for the permanent AC unit that cools our 911 server downstairs. As of right now, there's just a temp unit down there. However, the issue with that lead time for parts is about 14 weeks, so we're looking at August, maybe September, until there is a repairs being done over there. And the hot water heater project will be completely finalized once the permanent wiring is in place. Right now, there's just some temporary wiring right now. And they're gonna fix that shortly. But other than that, everything's working fine with that piece of equipment.
And did you just want to touch on that? It seems like we're moving the gym equipment back upstairs.
Yeah. So I directed the officers to start bringing up all the gear back upstairs into the original gym. So that way we could free up some space, traffic bay. He's got his vehicle and his motorcycle. So
The last couple of months, officers have been using that freed up bay for exercise, but now it's gotten warmer. It's almost intolerable to work out there on hot days.
yeah.
So I think it's a good move that they're deciding to bring
Bring it
the
back up.
exercise equipment back upstairs. And
It doesn't look too bad. They didn't really lose too much space. He took a walk around, so I think should still be okay up there.
Okay, any other old business?
Do we need to talk about parking?
I was going to put that under traffic,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not sure that falls under traffic, but that's where I was going to put it.
Just one other thing, this technically falls under old business, but you'll recall back in February, the commission authorized me to work with department leadership to on the issue of radio encryption. We made some good progress on that. We have a new general order that's in draft, waiting review with the chief, with the tentative date of July 1.
Right.
Turning our patrol radio traffic going encrypted. Not really new business, just an update.
Want to say anything, or wait till the next meeting and we have the general orders? We'll have to approve those, right?
yeah,
In
we were
commission.
discussing it earlier. It's the draft as it is more than adequate. We just want to touch up and maybe add a couple things.
But it will come back here and we will approve that. Changes to general orders, I think, comes to the commission. No?
I believe so.
I think it might have to come back to us. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we don't have a meeting before July 1st, maybe we'll have to have some online,
All right, well,
offline conversation about it.
Yeah, well, and
I
check.
don't foresee any issues
I don't
with the
think so either,
approvals.
and Kevin's been in the drafting, so I think we'll be fine, and just process, I believe it needs an official vote. E-bikes, I brought this up because I was traveling in Norotan Heights, and while I'm not that great at figuring out how old kids are these days, there were 2 kids on e-bikes, and one of the bikes had the kid on the back, and only one of the 3 was wearing a helmet, and they were in and out of traffic. And so I just asked the question of the command staff, because I didn't know the exact rules and regulations. It just seemed scarier than normal bike to me. They were going fast, and they looked, because they were motorized, and I'm not sure what class they were more brazen to be in with the traffic than if they had been on a normal bike, I thought. So anyway, I added this to the agenda just so that we could bring it up in public session and maybe alert people. Can we put this on our website, or I don't know how you want to just address the issue? Maybe it's not an issue, and they were perfectly legal, but it seemed very scary.
I agree with you, the operation is something that's very concerning. And I think I'd just like to remind everybody, I went through the Connecticut General Assembly laws on this back from 2018, which I believe is the last time they made any updates or changes to this particular law. But some of the highlights from it, which this organization, People for Bikes, does do a pretty good job in pulling out the highlights, is that electric bicycles are regulated just like bicycles. Same rules of the road apply to both electric bicycles and human-powered bicycles. Electric bicycles are not subject to registration, licensing, or insurance requirements that apply only to motor vehicles. Connecticut designates 3 classes of electric bicycles. Class 1 is a bicycle equipped with a motor that provides assistance only when the rider is pedaling, and that ceases to provide the assistance when the electric bicycle reaches 20 miles per hour. Class 2, bicycle equipped with a throttle-actuated motor that ceases to provide assistance when the electric bicycle reaches 20 miles per hour. And Class 3, bicycle equipped with a motor that provides assistance only when the rider is pedaling, and that ceases to provide assistance when the electric bicycle reaches 28 miles per hour, which is a little bit faster. So helmets are required for riders of all classes of electric bicycles. Persons under 16 years of age may not ride Class 3 electric bicycles unless they are a passenger. And Class 3 electric bicycles are not allowed on bicycle trails or paths or multi-use trails or paths. So those are some of the highlights. I don't want anybody confused with these motor-powered scooters either. Some of them need to actually be registered, and some of them require you to have a motorcycle's license. We've put correspondence out on that through the town's newsletter. So now that it's warmer and we're seeing the bikes out a little bit more, we encourage that the operators need to follow all traffic laws. And we have had incidents where collisions have occurred with motor vehicles, and it was the fault of the operator of the e-bike. So we encourage everybody to use caution and obey the law.
Okay. And they seem to be proliferating everywhere. There's more of them out there, it seems to be. Okay, and then other old business on traffic. At the last meeting, there was a discussion about adding additional parking places to, I don't know what the exact address is on the Post Road, right across from St. Luke's Church, right next to the Norotan Fire Department. My suggestion, I said it at the time, and I had a chance to go out and look at the place. Until it seems to me that there's room for 2 businesses. Moots, there's a sign with Moots up, and then there's another tile Darien Kitchen. Neither is operating right now. So my sense is that until the businesses get up and running and we actually see how the traffic flows, I'm not inclined to add or subtract anything. And I wish we had asked a more specific question of when are they opening, but my sense is that we, in that meeting, raised a couple issues. But I'm not sure, I'm inclined to do anything until we actually get businesses that are operating and we see how the traffic flows and we, planning and zoning approve them with the 28 parking spots. So let's see how, so,
Well, also, I believe the law is you can't be within 25 feet of the stop sign, so that may actually limit 3, right? I don't know the exact footage,
there's
but
50
there's
more.
50 feet, right?
There's
Captain
more.
Mastriani, right?
Yeah, I went out there,
Neighborhood, so-
I went out there today and
Yeah.
it's.
So I don't know how much an average, parking spot is. Is that 15 feet? So is there even enough for 3 spots anyway to begin with?
Right.
Right, but we can wait till they open and revisit that discussion, of course.
Yeah, and I think another question we would have asked is, what is making them feel that those 3 spaces are
That's-
needed at this point before business operations even open or begin?
yeah, that was my question. So
Yeah.
I just would like to see it all, if there's a problem, we can see it in action. But I don't need to proactively start cutting curbs and doing anything.
And
So
lastly, I
anyway.
understand they also, I guess the back of the fire department also opens the garages, is what I learned over the last couple of weeks. So they may bring in the vehicles in that way, which could be somewhat problematic.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions,
Just in
but I'm
terms
going to
of
hold them
turning
all
radius.
until it
Yeah, I
becomes
just think, okay, so
live. Is that acceptable?
I still think the 25
Reasonable?
feet's-
Makes sense.
Okay, so will you communicate to?
Yeah, I was gonna, I suggest I'll reach out to Moots and get an idea of when they plan on opening the other
Yeah, and
businesses.
Jeremy, I don't know if anyone else is
I'll
involved
update
in
planning
this.
and zoning, yeah.
Update planning and zoning, and they're welcome to come back to us, but I think at the moment it seems premature, I guess is the best word. All right, any other old business?
I guess the only other thing is, Kim, I think there's a setback from where the curb cut starts, so you can't park your car right there,
No,
right? So it's 50 feet from here to here, and if it's 25 feet from there to, let's say, middle, right, it's not, you don't have all that 25 feet, you have about 20 maybe, because I think you have to do a 5-foot buffer between the curb cut and the first parking spot, so
Give me one spot at a time.
There is a long list of questions, but I don't want to send everybody on a wild goose chase and we.
Kim, the only other thing, old business that I would point out, as we all know, right, we discussed additional signage right down at Pear Tree Point.
Yes, we did.
I know, Captain, you got the signs up, so thank you for doing that, including the very big no left-hand turn sign coming out of Pear Tree Point, and some very, call it the yellow sign, so it's very clear to be careful of pedestrians, cyclists, et cetera. So
Yes, I saw all
that's been
those,
done.
yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
No problem.
All right, new business.
New business. I would make a recommendation to the Police Commission to support Lieutenant Mulcahy, Sergeant Jimenez, and Sergeant Schwenger to be upgraded to their Step 3 on their pay scale, effective May 29th, 2024.
want to just
Do them all.
go do them all at the
Yes.
same time.
I make a motion to approve Lieutenant Mulcahy, Sergeant Jimenez, and Sergeant Schwenger effective 5/29/24 to Step 3.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next.
I would also make a recommendation to the commission that Officer Munoz and Officer Guerrero to come off probation, effective May 29th as well. I don't have the specifics on their performance during that probation period, but I trust that those that are in charge of that and monitoring their success and their day in, day out work have already analyzed that and are supportive of them coming off probation.
Excellent. I will make a motion to approve Officer Munoz and Guerrero to come off probation effective 5/29/24.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Got it.
And lastly, I think this one's yours, right? Captain Adema?
The only thing I have is the Community Funded Darien Thriving Youth Social Host Law campaign. They're asking that we place the magnets on the back of the car for the month of June. That's really all the information I have on that. I know Sergeant Wallman was working on this for a while when he was youth detective. And they did a whole campaign and, spreading the word about these issues, and now they're just looking to put this on the back.
Seems like the right time, and.
And that's what
we
the
need to-
target date
yes.
was, yeah, the prom and graduation.
Yeah, I have no problem, so I think it's all good. Okay. We are going to go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. We will carry on no business and take no votes coming out of executive session. So if we come up with a new meeting date, we can adjourn. The 20th? Is that what this tells me? We are here special meeting only because we moved it from 4 to 3:30, but this is a regular meeting date, so the next meeting would be the 20th. Does
Good for me.
that work for people?
I am not in the office that day, but I can make the meeting if it's good for everybody else.
How's the 27th for people?
I don't think you heard that day either, Joe, right?
I guess not. But again, same situation, I could come to either of those.
All right, well, let's see.
I'm fine either day.
The 20th works better for me, but
All right, well, it's the regular meeting, so let's stick with the 20th. Hopefully, we can have the general orders done, and then we'll be good to go. Okay,
It's 4 PM, yeah.
with that,
Yeah.
we adjourn.